Good morning, everybody. So feels like Monday, but it's actually Tuesday. Reseller revenue Facebook groups wake up and resale chat that we have that is now at 8 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Thursday. I'm hoping that this time accommodates more people to be able to jump on live with us. A little later time, one coast was really early before, so we're gonna hope this time works a little better. I want to start a new format this week that I'm really going to try to follow so that everybody knows what's happening from call to call. And I'm also going to be posting the week's schedule ahead of time on the Facebook group. So on Mondays, my plan is to do a fundamental of either reselling or eBay's platform. And then on Tuesdays, I'd like to talk about how we actually apply the fundamental we talked about. So like we can share about how different people do it different ways in the group and what your options are, pros and cons of implementing it into your own business rules. And then on Wednesdays, we're going to be doing interview the coaches till all the coaches are interviewed. So it'll take me till about November. I'm going to lead up the first one on tomorrow. Russell's going to interview me and I'm going to talk about the calls I'll be leading. So I'm going to break the ice for everybody. Thursdays, I'd like to do a teach a niche, so that if people would like to volunteer to do that, I think somebody needs to break the ice for us. You can show us your store if you want to, but you don't have to. And then you could do a deep dive on a brand you sell or buy, or a category you buy or sell in, and just kind of teach us about the niche you're in. And if you're an everything seller, then just pick what you look for in really great items and things of that nature. So that's kind of the road I'm going to go down with this call and see how it goes, because we'll also be having, adding in the Monday night Q&A, which will start next week at 7 o'clock Central Time, and then the high level call as well as the jewelry call. So I'll be adding other calls in. And I do also am still been every week. I've had individual coaching clients, which is great. So if you're interested in that, message me and we can set something up. So that's my plan for moving forward, is trying to do a more structured format. So today we're going to talk about inventory systems, because that was something that I really couldn't, like, it's not necessarily like a foundation that I could teach. So I thought it'd be a good Tuesday, that since we didn't have a Monday this week. So we have all different kinds of inventory systems that work. And I think that it's not really fair to say, hey, only one way works, or everybody should do their inventory this way or that way. I really think that it's one of those, I think with lots of things we talk about, it's going to work differently for different people, and that's fine. But I do think we should answer certain questions before you get started trying to do your inventory system or setting it up. Is like, what are you selling? Because like clothing inventory versus jewelry versus, you know, car parts or whatever, inventory systems are just going to be different, different needs. How large is your store now versus how big do you want it to get? How long until you're going to outgrow your current space? Nothing's worse than, you set up this great inventory system, it's awesome, and then you outgrow it in 4 months and you got to start over. So that's, something we want to think about ahead of time to save us the headache later. How much room do you actually have? And will you keep selling the same kind of items in the future? Are you niche down yet? Are you still just experimenting? I think if we're still experimenting, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's going to change how maybe we set up our inventory system from like maybe a temporary structure to a permanent structure. The only thing I could say across the board is don't use the I'll remember where I put it inventory system. I feel like the I'll remember where I put it inventory system doesn't work long term. It feels it feels kind of like it probably works for like 500 items. You get over that and all of a sudden the I'll remember where I put it inventory system turns into the, oh God, I hate shipping because it gives me anxiety every day because I'm not really sure where I put something system. And that's just not a great system to live by. Been there, kind of done that early on. I wouldn't recommend it. Where are you going to put your inventory? So is it dry? Is it climate controlled if it needs to be? Is your inventory going to stay clean and free of odors and pet hair and all that good stuff while you're storing it? Heat can do weird things to certain items that we just don't want to have happen. people know that I had a bunch of books stored in my enclosed trailer. Opened up the door and my books are swelled up and wet. And I'm like, how does this happen? I don't have a leak in here. It was just the humidity and no ventilation. Ruined all these antiques. Totally my fault. Are you going to have rodent issues? You know, we got to think about that. Like, nobody wants to admit, like, mice might get in my inventory, but it happens. So we need to make sure that we think about that before we put it in an area that may have those kind of issues. Is it easily accessible? I know lots of you guys do have storage units. There's nothing wrong with that. I think in general, when you start out, having it at your house is the best. But if you have to grow and you have to move into a different area, then there's nothing, wrong with it. But let's think about it. Maybe you can save 20 bucks, but the storage unit's at the other end of town. Is it worth that 20 bucks for you to have to drive further? Is there going to be traffic? Is there easy ways to load in and out of that storage unit? Are they going to raise the costs on you down the road? Just all things we have to think about. It's taken literally forever to get it ready, but I have like an eBay shed that's getting closer and closer to getting done all the time. And if you can put a building that works for you on your property, I think that that really works. Or to use extra, if I had extra square bedrooms on the first level, I would definitely use that. But like I said, storage unit, warehouse, things like that, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Just need to kind of evaluate it to make sure that it's going to work for you long term. Make sure if you're signing a contract for like a year or 2 years or whatever it is on your storage unit or warehouse, that's going to work for you long term. And if your business for whatever reason doesn't work out, then you're still going to be paying that a lot of the time. So make sure that that's something you're willing to do and want to be stuck with, because nobody wants to be paying bills on something they're not using if you could help it. Will you want to go there? I know a lot of people get these cheap storage places and they hate it there. And then they avoid it. They avoid that storage unit because they don't want to spend time there. They don't want to go there. It's hot. It's hard to get to. It's in a bad part of town, whatever it is. So make sure that you're not going to hate it. And the cost, of course, it has to work out. Make sure that we're not buying storage units just to hoard things. I don't know that I love the idea of buying storage units for unlisted inventory only, unless you already have it. And because otherwise we're just storing stuff that's never going to make us money if we don't pull it out and get it listed. So, and I think sometimes out of sight, out of mind, and then we end up with a whole bunch of inventory piled up that we never really go dig out. So make sure that we're not doing that. I really recommend creating a system that you won't lose things. And I think SKUs are really important for that. So we lose inventory, we lose sales. We lose too many sales, we lose our account, then it's game over. So it doesn't matter how fancy the shelves are you bought, how nice the boxes are, it's a problem. So we need to make sure we're not going to lose things. So I believe in SKU systems, which is in the custom label field in eBay. I really like it. Just choose a number and start. I think I waited too long to implement my new system because I was like, well, I got to wait till I hit the even number. Nope, just start. It's just a number. I do like to go in order with dates, because if you do a date-based system, whatever your system is, I feel like if you have a backup, then you can go look to see what day your item was listed on eBay, and then you can go from there as a backup plan. I also take a picture of the item with the SKU number on it as my last picture in the listing. It's already bailed me out once, and I just started this new system, so I really appreciated having it. Place your inventory in the date-based system that you can easily locate them. If you mess up your SKU and you have that backup, that's awesome. It could be a bag or a box, or maybe hang your items. Just be consistent with whatever inventory system you have. I think it gets to be a problem when people don't do the put away right away at the end of their listings. We need to clean up that space, which also includes, to me, putting away the items you listed. Make sure that you have what you need ahead of time. Maybe you need boxes, shelves, bags, stickers. Maybe you need shelves, but make sure you measure whatever it is that you need ahead of time. Measure twice, at least. You don't want to get home and the shelves you paid all this money for, you hauled it in and they don't fit. Or the boxes that you bought for these fancy shelves don't fit. So just make sure that we are, make sure that we're measuring at least once, sometimes twice, because you want it to fit together nicely. Ask for recommendations in this group. People are really helpful at both telling you, hey, this worked for me, or this did not work for me. So don't be afraid to ask. When you're looking for all these supplies, shelves can get super expensive. Go look on Facebook Marketplace. I got my shelves for my shed on Facebook Marketplace from a business that was closing. Basically, I paid 20 bucks to take out any of the shelves I wanted. I just had to do the work of taking them down. So it was a good deal. They were really nice industrial shelves. Uh, So buying used, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't spend a bunch of money on a fancy inventory system if you're not sure that's gonna work. And of course, we're never really sure, but let's be, at least a little confident that it's gonna work in our space for at least some period of time. You don't want to just have it work for a week and then you change your mind again. So before you spend a bunch of money, try to make sure. And changing your inventory process is a pain. I'm going to tell you, been there, done that a few times now. I hope this is my forever inventory system. Why I didn't listen to the group recommendations a long time ago, I don't know, but changing it is rough. And so I wish I would have had groups earlier, because if I'd had a lot of these great inputs earlier, I would have had this figured out more in a more solid plan way earlier. So we grow, we learn, we change, but the more we can get a pretty good system down to begin with, I think the happier you'll be. So Lynn says changing here is not fun. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not. Larry asked, do you include the picture with the SKU in the listing? I do. I list the very last picture. I take the picture of the item in the bag with the SKU number on it. It works for me. Maybe that doesn't always work for everybody, but yeah, I do. I put it in the listing. I wondered about that. I wondered about that early on, and I worried about it looking unprofessional. I don't think anybody cares. There's a lot of really big sellers that do it and their listings look great, so I'm not worried about it. And it really saved me a few times, because I'm not going to save all those pictures. I get rid of my pictures. So I think it's fine. Larry said he just started inventory sticker roll 4,000 to 499 this weekend. You have over 4,000 items in your store, Larry?
That's I started using it about 8 months ago or so, 6 months ago.
Wow.
And so no, I don't have that many in my store. I've only got like I'm coming up on 600.
But that means you've rolled them over. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yes, yes. And that's
That's
part of my
really good.
game plan is to flip this stuff
That's even
fast.
better.
Yep, that's great. Yep, I got to get another roll, because I think I've said this before, but once I went to 25 a day, I go through everything faster than I think. Right? Like, so I'll have this big box of inventory and I'll be like, oh, this is gonna last me a week. I take out 2 days worth of inventory and it's almost gone. I'm like, 25 items takes up more space and more prep than you ever think it's going to. So same with my stickers. I was like, oh, this is gonna last me forever. And I'm like, well, crud, I better order again. Yeah, pros and cons of buying versus printing your own SKU labels. What do you guys think? I bought mine.
I like printing mine. It's really easy to set it up with an Excel spreadsheet.
Mhm.
And the nice part is I can separate by category. So like all my clothes are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I can start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and just put a S dash, and that indicates it's a shoe. A
Mhm.
H dash indicates it's a hat. So for me, it's the ability to just print them on demand.
Well, you got a separate roll and a separate printer for that?
No, I use my thermal printer and then I just buy the blank labels on Amazon.
Right.
And I just swap out my shipping
Okay.
label for that and hit print and print what I need and swap the labels back.
So, and you print, you do that swap pretty much every day?
No,
Or do you pre-print?
like for instance, like here's a roll. I printed, I think 28, 2,900 was the first one, or 1,000 or 3,000 was the first one. And this goes back to 2,500. So here's 500 labels. And then for my shoes, you know, like here's a stack that I've been working through for shoes. It's the same thing as just S dash. And then I keep everything separate in my inventory. So it's just a matter of just printing out 400 or 500 of them. I know I do more clothing than I do shoes. So I print more of those labels. I don't do nowhere near as many hats. So I only print up maybe 100 for hats at a time. but it's just
Yeah,
a,
I see the benefit of that. I mean, I can
Yeah.
see that that's, you know, when you use the customization like that. I was looking to see how much I pay for mine. I feel like it's worth it to me just to buy them, but I could totally see how it works to do it the way you guys are doing it too.
I think I get a roll or 3 rolls of them with 5,000 per roll. And I want to say it's like $8 or $9 a piece, a piece for the blank rolls. It's not, and then the label printer, the thermal printer doesn't use ink, so
Right.
it's not a big deal.
Going to thermal for me was a game changer
Oh
as
yeah,
far
for
as
sure.
expense. It's so much cheaper. I was
Oh, I bought them on eBay.
buying cartridges at least every month or two.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. I was looking, I think I bought my stickers on eBay is where I ended up
Yeah.
deciding to buy mine, and they were pretty good. It was harder to find the ones that like the higher numbers. So I had to search for that. Yeah, here they are. So I bought 3,000 consecutive number inventory stickers on a 2x1, and it was $25 for the 3,000 pre-printed ones. So to me, I'll pay the $25. Because I mean, that's pretty cheap. But if you customize it like Russell does, I mean, I could see that being a good
I
idea
think
too.
one advantage of Russell's approach is he's not going to run out of numbers. He's not going to run out of 4-digit numbers anytime soon. I'm going to end up, I'm going to run out here probably within 9 months or a year, and I'll probably just rotate back to 0. Since I
Harry
should,
says he restarts his number when he finishes the current roll. Yeah, and I could see that too.
Harry, how big does your roll go to 1,000?
Well, right now my roll
Yeah.
is one of my rolls is to 4,000, so my clothing rolls to 4,000. But I also have been going back, and anything that's older than a year, I either delist, relist, or I completely redo. Mostly completely redo, because I don't want anything sitting out there that long. So
Mhm.
that kind of redoes the whole numbering system too.
Yeah, and I'm going backwards since this is my new system and it's not fun and I don't enjoy it at all. I don't know how I think I'm going backwards starting with the most recent because I don't have a whole lot left of the older stuff. So, but yeah, going backwards is no fun, guys, with your inventory system.
Carry that link I just threw in the chat. That's for 13,000 or 1,300 labels per roll. And that's 12 rolls or 15,000
Wow.
labels.
Yeah, that's good price.
So
I
like I
still
said,
don't want to do it myself, but yeah. Lazy, don't want to do it.
I wonder what your printer would do if you tried to print 1,000 at a time.
Might probably freak out.
I send 500 of them through and it seems to be okay.
It didn't melt onto your desktop.
No, no, but the worst part, the part that it's kind of sucky is the rolling it back up.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Mine also likes to try to eat it backwards, like so it'll like pull it back in on the bottom. So I have to guide it a little bit when I'm doing.
I would make sure if you're gonna print that many, you make sure everything's tight and your guides are tight and all that.
Yeah, that'd suck if it was drifting
Yeah.
and you didn't catch it.
Exactly.
Well, you just reach behind the printer and turn the power off.
Sure, but then you got to restart. And printers are my bane. I hate printers.
I don't either. And mine gets like if you screw it up, then it gets sticky in there. And then if you don't get that sticky off, then it wants to like keep eating them. And I talked to it really nice, just like Jamie told me I was supposed to yesterday. So I talked to it really nice, and then the middle of my roll came out, and then my red light came on, and I had to fight it forever. And I was super tired when I was trying to print my labels. And I was trying to put my labels in backwards, and Rowdy just sat there and watched me do it because he thought it was hilarious that I was tired and trying to put my labels in backwards. Like I was trying to put it in from the front. I don't know, I was really tired. And so yeah, printers aren't my friend today either.
But I did
So
find that,
yeah.
find that if you keep the cardboard roll from one of your other labels that you're printed through, you can get it started and then there's a drill attachment you can put in your cordless drill and it just winds them right up.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good too. So does anybody have any other inventory systems that they'd like to show us? How do they keep their inventory? How do you keep your items nice and neat and stored? Anybody come prepared?
I use numbered bins. And what I'll do is, if I have like 10 items to put away, I'll find a bin with the most space and hold the item up to the bin number and photograph it and then put it in the bin. And I'll go until I fill up that bin, or until, you know, you have to be careful when you're stacking stuff like what I've got, you know, as far as stuff that might bend or break or whatever. So I'm a little careful with that. But then I'll take all those photographs that have the actually I can show all the photographs that have all of the photos um with the locations, and then I'll hop back into the system and then just edit the listing. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
England's Greatest Hits. The what is it? The Wild Thing by the Krogs or Grogs or whatever that band was.
Frogs, I love the song.
Yeah. So this is a reel to reel tape. I got $39 for this stupid tape just because that one song was on it. But anyway, so I'll get a picture with the bin number and the item number, and then I'll
Nice.
go through my listings. And anybody want a Barbie 10-speed bike in box?
No, but that's pretty cool. I've never seen one before.
It turns out they're worth like $9.
Really?
And
But
then
if you have the right shoe, it's worth 100.
here's a recent photo of my storage locker.
And you haven't been in the storage locker very long, right? I mean, you
No.
were in garage life
3 months
before,
or so.
right?
3, yeah. And again, the rationale of what really drove me was this massive inventory of shoes. It's down to like 150 now, but this was going to get real funky real fast in the 120-degree plus, 80% humidity garage that they were in. I hit a point now where these two shelves are pretty much full. I put the bigger stuff on the top shelves. I don't worry about giving them a bin number, but I do label them as top shelf to myself. But I've hit the point now where I need another one of these 7-foot things that's going to go right here where all of this bad purchased Rain-X stuff is.
PSA for Larry. If you need Rain-X, Larry is your man right here.
Rain-X, and now reel-to-reel tapes. I'm swimming in reel-to-reel tapes. The good news about them though is they are moving fast. So
That's good.
that was a good purchase. And I've got about 3 inches to spare to drop another one of these shelves into this space where these cardboard boxes are. So
Can you extend that upward?
I could, but this right here is 6 feet. And to reach in, I try not to use bins up here just because I'm reaching above my head to pull it forward and down. And I guess I could do, if I were to bring in a ladder, I could. And in fact, one of my neighbors has this thing stacked to the ceiling, and it's probably a 14 or 16-foot ceiling. They basically got shelving 15 or 16 feet high, but I'm not there yet, and I'm gonna go out before I go up. And this is a 10 by 15. My plan here is to liquidate more of these shoes, get rid of these shoes, get the boots off the floor and get the boots on these shelves. But on paper, my plan is to coat this right wall with these black shelves and use, because these shelves are on wheels, I can put them in the middle and move them left or right depending on how I need it to go. So I potentially have a whole lot more inventory storage room in here than I currently need. but I'm trying to get to 1,000 items in my store, and this inventory represents roughly 600. So anyway,
Just makes it difficult when you have so many different items and so many different categories with so many different sizes.
yeah,
You really have to contemplate your storage versus
yeah,
someone who sells just clothing where you could stack it in a box like I do. And,
yeah. Well, I've got like 3 different classes of things going on right now. I got shoes on the right. I got boots down here on the floor. I put the boots on the floor because they there's too much dead space and they kill these shelves. And I had the room. I could put three black totes down here like I did on the left, but I needed someplace for the boots. The bigger bulk stuff, right? Blenders and skateboards and whatever else I've got going on here in these black totes. These top yellow ones are for my smalls, and I've also got 2 totes of smalls here in my office. The more valuable, for whatever reason, I keep my more valuable stuff here at the house, but this is all my smalls and small glassware kind of stuff up here. And then the other last class of stuff is the big bulky stuff um on the tops of shelves.
just throwing it out there for a quick fix. You could pull those black boxes off your top shelf in the back, throw the boots on the top shelf because you're just going to pull those one at a time. That'd be simple, but that would free up the floor for 3 more bins of heavier stuff that you're going to access more frequently instead of reaching over your head.
Oh, so put the bigger stuff on the floor and put the bins up above.
No, just take the boots off the floor and throw them on the top shelf straight above where they are.
Yeah.
And then that'll free up that where the boots
Yeah.
are. So you can fit 3 bins where that you're gonna, so you don't reach over your head to grab a bin full of stuff. You're just reaching up there to grab
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Doing that though might make it difficult because my eye level is probably right about here, maybe a little higher. So I wouldn't be able to stack these 2 or 3 deep the way I can if they're like this. I wouldn't be, bottom line is I wouldn't be able to see them. It'd be a pain in the butt to get to. But yeah, I appreciate the recommendation though.
Just an idea.
Yeah. And like I said, my next is getting rid of this Rain-X. I'll probably fire sell it to Facebook Marketplace or something. And that'll get me nine more totes over here to the left, plus a top shelf.
How do you know which area you put it in, whether it's smalls or larges, or you put a code on your SKU, or
Yeah, that's oh, where'd it go? Can you guys, okay, so I've got I take pictures as I'm putting the stuff away. I'm
oh,
So 3944 is in G6.
I see.
Y3 has whatever this thing is. And then I'll go back into my listings and I'll search for SKU 3883 and add the G4 to it. So when I list it with 3883, and then I come back and it's really easy because I can sort my listings, or I'll have the listings, and it's really obvious when they don't have the -G4. And I can zero in on the ones that are missing the bin number, and then I focus on those, and I'll come into here and find it. It takes an additional 5 minutes or so to, after I put it all away, to add the bin number to the listing. It's not ideal. I mean, I'd love to do it some other way, but this avoids my move everything to the left
Right.
kind of
Right.
thing, which really isn't going to work with this kind of inventory. Right, like inkjet cartridges, or these are laser cartridges. What do I do with those? I can't keep moving those to the left.
Yeah. That's
I
that's
appreciate you
an
showing us.
interesting approach. It's
Mhm.
Yeah, well, it's my approach with I'm doing the best I can with what I've got here, and it's a characteristic of the type of inventory I'm inventorying.
well, it's better than my approach of just sticking it in the closet. So
Well,
90%
with
of the time I can go, oh, okay, this is such and such, and I go, here it is. But sometimes I have to dig.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to end the YouTube portion. And then I have 3 people that submitted their inventory systems on the Facebook group. So we're going to look at those quick because I think we can all get little ideas. Even if you have a really great inventory system, you see somebody else's, sometimes it's like, oh, I could do that. It might make my life easier. And anytime we can make our lives a little easier for each other, that's what we're here for. So um the rest of the group meeting is on the private Zoom, and you can view that if you're a member of the resale revenue Facebook group. And for right now, it's free to January. So if you want to come on here and join, and then you can talk to different members. Next week, we start a bunch of new calls. So basically, I mean, it's enough calls. I'll be able to pretty much just leave my laptop on and listen to our group during the day, which is great for
do
me.
you want to
So
share that schedule that you posted?
yeah, we certainly can, Larry. Great idea. It is, I'm just gonna pull it up here. So we'll have this call at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Thursday still. And then on Mondays,
You're not sharing?
oh, I was just reading, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Well, that's okay. It is more effective if we read along here. That's good. You gotta watch me because sometimes I think I am sharing and I'm not. So let me get it bigger here. So as you can see, Russell and I will be on every morning starting at 8 with my call, Central Time. And then Russell's going to follow mine up with either like some work time, but also if you have any questions about what we discussed in my call or any other questions, because he's pretty knowledgeable and can help. And there's other people that'll be in here in the 24-hour room that can also help. Kind of just helping people. I don't want any beginners or people that have extra questions or anything like that to fall through the cracks. So we want to make lots of time available to be able to help on any of that. So, and then Mondays at 11, and all this is in Central Time, is Larry's workshop. Larry is awesome with like repairs and different ideas on how to do things. So tune in for that. And then on 7 p.m. on Monday nights, we're going to do an open Q&A since my calls in the morning are more structure based. So if you have any kind of questions or any little topics you want to go over and discuss as a group, we can do that on the Monday night call. On Tuesdays, same, me and Russell. And then at 11, we're going to have a live selling with Michelle, which is great. She's sold on lots of different platforms live, but she's very big on Whatnot. And she also holds a beginner Whatnotter call to on one of her shows. So I told her she could post that in the Facebook group for people. Then at 1 o'clock, we'll have the jewelry call with me and Lynn. And Lynn and I have been talking about doing a podcast for jewelry together for a really long time. So it's actually our podcast is costume. Help me out, Lynn. I'm losing my mojo here.
Costume Jewelry Chronicles.
There you go. So that's we're going to do our podcast, but we're going to do it inside of the group. And that way you guys can ask questions about the jewelry too. And if you guys have anything you want us to look at, it's just going to be all part of it, which is great. And Lynn is Finds of Yesterday on YouTube. And I love her. Love her YouTube videos. Very informative. Wednesday, same thing, me and Russell. And then at 11 is Clothing Call with Autumn. If you guys have not had a chance to meet Autumn yet, she is very well versed in clothing and does a great job with that. 1 o'clock, we'll have bookkeeping and accounting with Cheryl on Wednesdays. She does bookkeeper and accounting in a lot of different reselling groups. Wealth of Knowledge, I recommend her workbook. She'll be there for any questions you have or to help you through anything you need help with. On Thursdays, same, me and Russell get it started. 10 o'clock shoe call with Russell. If anybody wants to help Russell with the shoe call, I think he would be more than happy to have a little bit of help. Autumn did say she was going to pop in and try to help Russell with the shoe call too. Otherwise, they're going to do deep dives on brands of shoes or topics that have to do with shoes. 11 o'clock on Thursdays, we're going to do a high level call with me. This does not mean that you have to be, 100K a year or a certain dollar amount. This just means you are relying on eBay or reselling as a form of your main income or a chunk of income. You're taking it seriously. That's it. You do not have to be a certain level seller. So even if you're getting started and you're full time or you're taking this very seriously and you're keeping your numbers, that's what I mean by high level. So we will be having a spreadsheet. We're going to share our numbers, going to share our trials and tribulations together, and and just support each other in, tracking our numbers and our goals together. At noon on Thursdays, Becky and Marcia are going to be talking about balancing our life with reselling. That should be pretty interesting. They both have a lot of experience in that. And then at 3 on Thursdays, Harry's going to wrap it up with source and sell with Harry. So he gave me a little bit of a tidbit about what his call is going to be about. And I think it's going to be super interesting.
First
Fridays,
one,
yeah, go ahead.
First one's gonna be don't sink your battleship and talking about sunk costs.
There you go. I'm going to tune in for that one for sure. On Fridays, it's going to start. I don't have calls on Fridays because I'm gone a lot on Fridays, but Russell will still do his beginner call and work time at 9 a.m. And then at 11, we're going to have the YouTube social media call with Diane. And she is somewhat new in her journey with YouTube, but she's done really well. And so I think that's great because she's going to be able to relate to the beginners still, and she's going to be able to see what, you might be going through if you're just starting. And I think it's maybe we don't have a lot of people that are doing YouTube like full time or as seriously in here, but maybe a lot of people that are interested in it. So I find that really interesting. And then in between those calls, I do have a dedicated Zoom room that's just for coaching. So we can still schedule individual one-on-one coaching when we're having calls as long as I'm not on it. So, and anytime that there's not a call, you guys can use this room, the Zoom room, to work together, ask questions, socialize, have community, whatever you guys want it for is fine. And I'm also working on recording weekly podcasts. I'm not sure when they'll start getting released, but we have some fun things planned for that. Just different ideas of different roundtable type discussions or like reseller battle type things. I think it'll be fun. So just be patient with me. I'm going to be spread a little thin till the beginning of the year, but I'm going to do the very best I can. So I appreciate everybody's help that's reached out to me on that. You guys have been really great about being willing to help me and volunteer to coach a call, and everybody's been really great. So stop the call on this.